prescribed. And the patient and this doctor should be able to make a decision. And I think it should be based on that. And before I started Avastin, my doctor explained the risk and the benefits, and I chose to receive it, thankfully. It's almost 8 years later, I'm still having a great time. I'm healthy. I travel a lot. I've been all over, everywhere, and my life is, I'm doing just fine, and my quality of life is excellent, which seems to be a problem they're having trouble dealing with. My quality of life is very good, and I spend a lot of time with my grandchildren. I go to their baseball, basketball games. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 games a week. And we were referred, a group of people, wonderful people there that spoke were referred to as super responders. Yes. And then a comment was made by someone on the FDA board that we didn't exist to be, I mean, that's what it all boiled down to.
But so let me put in here what the FDA doctor who's against Avastin is saying. They are saying, this doctor and others, that the data shows that the Avastin has only a modest effect on progressive-free survival, and this small effect, in the absence of effect on overall survival or patient quality of life, does not outweigh its substantial and life-threatening risk. I know that is eloquent speak. For the bottom line, they do not believe that the benefit is great enough to have this product treat breast cancer. It can treat other forms of cancer. But again, as you pointed out, they say that your results are unique and that this could be life-threatening in the end for others.
It could be, but so it's a lot of things. You go to the drugstore, you get stuff over the counter. If you read it, you won't buy it. There's so many young women there that I met, people of all ages, and I meet them all the time, and it's so inspiring for them to know that Avastin is working. They may be just starting it, or maybe they've heard about it, or maybe they don't know what they're going to do. And when I tell them about how chemo didn't work for me for 4 months in 2003, early 2003, and I chose to go into the clinical trial, and I'm doing just great. And when I tell people this, I meet people all the time that are inspired, and they know there's hope out there. And maybe their doctor told them, well, if this doesn't work, you'll get Avastin. And they just cheer up. And I think it's just what you just quoted, what was said. It sounds like something that they were reading from a script, and they don't really know what's going on. I'm a living example of quality of life. I can't show my photo of it, but I have it in this bag here that I've been lugging around. It's 500 pictures, and I've been all over Europe and everywhere. And it's in good health. I go with a group of people on a tour, and I keep up. I never get dragged behind, and all of this is due to Avastin. I just call my photos, I say Avastin and me, my life after cancer.
Caroline,
and I call it my French benefit cancer, because I'm doing great, and who knows what it would have been if this hadn't happened. So now I'm doing great. I'm treatable, not curable, but stable. My wonderful doctors, Dr. Rugo and all. And when I go to get my treatments, I feel like I'm walking on the red carpet, because they're so good to me. And all the ladies there, I just want to tell them, just hang in there. We'll be okay. And I just met them yesterday, and it's like I've known them all my life. They have wonderful stories, and that's what one of them commented and said. They heard all the wonderful stories, and but it's still not. It's still, we can't hear from the ones that something happened to because they were taking Avastin.
Well, Caroline, I've got to get the other side of this conversation in here, and I really appreciate you joining me. Let me bring in now Joyce Bichler of Breast Cancer Action. Her organization testified at yesterday's hearing and is in favor of pulling Avastin's approval for breast cancer. Thank you very much for joining us, Joyce. You heard Caroline. You've heard from other women who believe it has saved their lives. What do you say to them?
Well, we're all wanting the same thing. We're all wanting to have effective treatments that are less toxic and benefit women who have metastatic breast cancer. Unfortunately, Avastin just isn't it. The drug company Genentech has done, they presented their own evidence, 5 clinical trials, none of which have shown overall benefit for people overall survival for people who have been treated with Avastin. They haven't shown increased quality of life. In fact, the drug has very toxic effects. And when we talk about clinical trials, I just want to say clinical trials are made up of people. They're the women, the mothers, daughters, the wives of people who have metastatic breast cancer who took Avastin, and they're not here to tell their stories. They're the ones who maybe even died earlier because of the life-threatening effects of the heart disease or the brain hemorrhage. They're not here. We cannot go on individual experience as a substitute for science.
But Haroline and others have brought up that science shows that other medicines that are on the market carry a great risk. If at any point in time you watch television, you will have a medicine that is used to treat something, and they end that commercial with a laundry list, Joyce, of side effects,
That's right.
which none of them are
Yes.
quite honestly pleasing.
Exactly, but it's always the risk-benefit ratio.
Yeah.
With Avastin, there's great risk and there's no shown benefit. There has been no benefit. We would love a clinical trial study that shows that there's overall survival or an improved quality of life. There is no benefit. What's being sold by the company is hope and promise, and that's why the FDA approved it for accelerated approval.
Yeah.
It had promise. The follow-up that the company was required to do shows that it didn't fulfill that promise. It didn't even do as well as it did in those earlier preliminary studies. If we let an accelerated approval drug stay on the market like this without taking it off when it shows it doesn't do what it was intended to do, we've undermined the whole process. There are other drugs that hopefully will come down the line that we at Breast Cancer Action will be pushing for, because we're here for the women who have breast cancer. We want drugs that really do make a difference and can show a demonstrated difference for people. If we don't adhere to some standard for this drug, then we're basically selling something that has no demonstrated benefit. And I don't think anybody really wants that.
Yeah, Joyce Bichler, we greatly appreciate of Breast Cancer Action. Also, Ms. Haroline Broom, a survivor of breast cancer, is treated with Avastin. Ladies, we'll see what happens when the FDA's panel makes its decision. And coming up, a special plane that detects chemical and radiological material is now being used to fly over the wildfire that's getting even closer to the Los Alamos nuclear laboratory. Plus,
the decomposition that I smelled in the